So now we're going to transfer over to talking about the tools that you're going to have for these meetings. And you're going to have everything that you need to be set up for successful meetings. Let me figure out how to do the slides first. There we go. So the first tool you're going to have is your story. And that honestly is the most important tool that you have. You are the expert in your experience and you're the expert in your illness. And so that's why we need you to speak to that. Your stories can evoke people's emotions. Your story and your feelings and emotions are what spur people to take action. And that's what we need out of these meetings is action. And the power of your story can move people to create change. And that's what we need. So one of the things that you can think about this weekend and up until Tuesday is how you want to present your story. We don't unfortunately have time to talk about everything that encompasses your story, since these are 15 minutes, maybe even shorter, and we have a lot of people that are in these meetings. So you're going to want to think about how this affects you personally as a person with ME/CFS, as a caregiver, as a person with long COVID, whatever your story is, you want to present that to the person you're speaking with. And use specific examples. So specific examples on how ME/CFS or long COVID has impacted you and how these specific issues that we're talking about have impacted you. So a few examples that you could use are, how has a delayed or misdiagnosis impacted your health? What are the financial impacts on you and your family? That can be a hard conversation, but that economic impact can be really important to people you're talking to understand what's going on. Another one is, how has this affected your family and your relationships? If you're a caregiver, talking about it, talking about your family and the things that you're going through. And then what does research or medical education mean to your day-to-day life? So if your doctor knows more about long COVID, or if your doctor knows more about ME/CFS, how would that impact your life day to day? What does this research actually mean for patients? One tool that you can use when you're thinking about telling your story is a framework. And one of those frameworks is a value, a problem, a solution, and an action. So if you have the energy, you can even write it down ahead of time to make sure that you mention the points that you want to when you're in the meeting. So you can talk about your 3-sentence story. When you got sick, how long you've been sick, and what a specific example of you being sick is. A problem that you want them to solve, the solution that you believe in, which is our bill, the thing that you want them to co-sign, the action you want them to take, how that action did, would, or could have helped you. If those things on the talking points that we're going to talk about later have impacted you before, mention that. Mention how useful that's been. Or if it hasn't, talk about how that would have made a change in your life. And then repeat that action, repeat what you want them to do, leave them with something they can take action on after you tell them your story. We want to make a focus on a few key things. That emotional and human connection is really the most important thing. Like Stuart and Shay said, that's what they're going to remember after these meetings. They have so many meetings in a day, so they're really going to remember you, your personal connection, that story that you told them. That's more important than any statistic that we can bring into there. The shared experience with others suffering complex chronic illnesses. We have a big group this year. We have over 800 people participating in Advocacy Day, and everyone brings their own stories. 900 now. And that is a lot of diverse experiences. And we don't all share the same problems and the same experiences, but we do share the same concerns, a few of the same concerns, and that's what we're coming in together. I would use a sports metaphor, but I know anything about sports, so think of like the Avengers. We all have our different concerns and our different illnesses, ME/CFS, long COVID, dysautonomia, but we're coming together as the Avengers for this one key thing, and that's what we want to focus on for this Advocacy Day. And that thing is the post-viral implications, what's going on with long COVID, how that impacts ME/CFS, dysautonomia. That's what we're talking about. And that brings us to the COVID-19 Long Haulers Act, which is the thing we're talking about, the need for data-driven policy solutions, and how this will help you and others like you. Keep in mind that for every one of the 900 people that are going to be in those meetings, there are thousands of people who weren't able to because they're too sick to be there. So we have to represent the people who can't be in that room as well. So think about that also when you're sharing your story, and that story is other people's story as well. And the need for action now. They need to take action on this now, so we can prevent this happening for people in the future, and so we can help people who are on this illness journey. So there's some things to not worry about. There's a lot of things to keep in mind, but don't worry about the numbers and the details. We are giving them this material ahead of time, and you can refer to your materials. You don't have to memorize those things, and we can always follow up with them afterwards. So focus on your story, your experiences. Don't focus on or don't worry about the challenges that this act doesn't fix. We know that this is not enough. We know that this is a stepping stone, and there are so many more problems out there that we need to solve. But this is the thing that will get us there. So this is what we're focusing on. Don't focus on the definitions or the acronyms. There are so many acronyms out there. If you get close enough, if you speak to generalities, that's perfect. Don't worry about saying everything. These meetings are going to go fast, especially if you have a lot of people in your group. Everyone is going to want to share a piece of it. So don't feel like you have to say everything. There are other people in your group, and this is also a continuing conversation. So start with what's most important to you in case you run out of time. So start with the main points, your one sentence, and your story. Don't worry about the other issues. Like I said, Stop the Long Haul is our focus this year. Pass and fund the COVID-19 Long Haulers Act, and plugging the gaps in post-viral healthcare delivery. We know that there are so many issues that inspire and drive us all, but today and Tuesday is going to be about post-viral illness, and that's what's so important right now. And lastly, I just want to say that it's important to take care of yourself when you're sharing these stories. These stories that you're giving on Tuesday are a gift. You're sharing your time, and you're also sharing your story. And you're only sharing part of your story. We know that this is not everything, especially since it's going to be such a small amount of time that you have. So honor that this isn't the whole story. You might have to cut out pieces that really are important to you, but that you don't have time to. And that's hard, but honor that what you share on Tuesday is not everything. So make a plan ahead of time. So after you share your story, after you went through the rush of talking to your member and you're really excited and everything, you want to take care of yourself. So take time to write down your steps of how are you going to take care of yourself before, making sure that you have a plan so you feel comfortable in those meetings, you feel prepared. How are you going to take care of yourself during? Make sure that you're in a area where you feel comfortable. If you need to lie down, take the meeting lying down. If you need to have the lights off, make sure you have the lights off. Make sure that you are in an area where you feel comfortable and are able to participate into the meeting to the best of your ability. And how are you going to take care of yourself after? That is both physically and mentally and emotionally. If sharing your story is hard for you, or if this is your first time sharing your story, you might want to have a friend that's kind of in the wings waiting to get your text or get your call to talk through your feelings that come up from sharing your story. You may want to have your favorite tea available right next to you after your meeting, or you may need to clear your schedule to mitigate in case you have a crash after having a meeting. So have those things ahead of you planned so you can take care of yourself after you have those meetings. All right, so that is the piece about sharing your story. We are going to talk about that again and again because that is so important. And we're also going to share time later in the week that if you want to talk through your story or do some role play on sharing your story, we can get into that. But I do want to share our online portal. So your online portal will have everything that you need for your meetings. So I am going to share my screen so we can go through what it looks like on my portal. All right. Now, Emily, can you see my screen? I want to make sure first.
Yes, I can see your
All right.
meeting dashboard.
Perfect. Okay, so this is your dashboard. You would have gotten an email from us with a link, and you're also going to get another one on Friday. That Friday link will be your final schedule. You may have logged in already. If you have, fantastic. Thank you so much for being ahead of the game. But these meetings right now are still in flux. We're still working on getting more meetings and getting volunteers into their groups. So you might see this change a little bit. But on Friday, you'll get your full schedule. So as you see, I've logged in here and I see my meetings that I have for that day. Everything is on Tuesday, April 20th. And then all times are Eastern time zones. That's important to keep in mind. If you are in another time zone, these don't change automatically. All these are Eastern time zones. So if you need help figuring out what time zone yours is, let us know and we can kind of help you with some websites to change that. But yeah, important to note that these are Eastern time zones. So you have up here home, that's where we are now, your meetings, that's these right here. You have legislators. Let's see, my internet is a little bit slow, so you're going to have to bear with me. These are all the legislators that you're going to be talking to. You have your messages. These are messages that you can send people in your groups. So see, I have a message that Emily sent me earlier. That's from the directory. These are the advocates that are talking with us. So if you have a particular person you want to message, you can go to the directory and click their name and send them a message on this platform. And I'll wait for it to load. Seeing as we have 900 people, it is taking a while for that to load. So maybe I'll just go back home and we'll go
Yes,
back to
with
that later.
900 people, our loading times are a little slower. Thank you for being patient.
Almost there. And that is a good note to log into this early. Don't, if I have my meeting at 9 a.m., I'm not going to wait till 8:59 to log in because it might take a little bit of time, especially because everyone's going to be on this at the same time. So log in early, make sure you're comfortable with it, make sure you click around and are familiar before your meeting. So we are going to go ahead and click on my first meeting and see what tools we have there as it loads. Okay, so here is everything I need for my meeting with Senator John Boozman. So I have right here the name, the picture of the senator, and then who I'm meeting with. This might not be Senator Boozman. This might be, a staffer, and it'll have that information there. And the meeting lead. That's the person who is going to be the lead advocate for these meetings. The join online meeting button, that is what you're going to want to click 5 minutes before your meeting starts. Don't click it before then, but click that 5 minutes before your meeting starts, and that will bring you to the meeting that you have. Different meetings are going to have different platforms. Some of them are going to have this online meeting button, which is a Zoom link. And then also, if you don't use Zoom, you can also use this dial-in number and this dial-in code. Either way, you want to join that 5 minutes before your meeting. Some other meetings will just have a phone number. If they just have the phone number, you can join either from your cell or your landline, and you're going to want to do that 5 minutes before the meeting starts. Again, this meeting is in Eastern time. When you do get to this platform, you can go ahead and check in to let people know that you're ready to join your meeting. You can do that as soon as you log in. This is your talking points. Emily's going to go over these talking points later, but this is just kind of your cheat sheet for the information that you want to hit at your meeting, the things you want to say over and over again, and some additional information. So if they ask any questions, you can look at that, see if it's there. If not, say that we'll get back to them later. These documents are things that the members will have beforehand, but also things that are key for our asks that day. So you can go ahead and look at them ahead of time and familiarize yourself with them. Don't feel like you have to memorize it, but just be aware of them and look at them and see how they pertain to your story. Anything that jumps out to you that pertains to your personal experience, you're going to want to highlight. So if you click on one of them, it will take you to the document. This first one is the information about the Long Haulers Act. So this is really the most important document. Really look over this and read this and see how it pertains to your story and information about the COVID-19 Long Haulers Act. These other things are additional information that Emily will cover, but if you click on them, they will bring you to another page with that information. And if you want to, you can print them off. If it's a little bit too much information to all have on this one screen, you can print that off and have to the side of you to refer to during the meeting. These attendees are the ones who are going to be with you in your meeting. Now, these are going to change up until Friday, so don't be surprised or concerned if you see some of these names change. And this star right here is the meeting lead, the person who's the meeting lead for that. So if you have any questions, you can message them right here. And this button will bring you to a message where you can just say hi. I won't send that yet because I don't want to confuse that person. But yeah, so that's your attendees that are going to be in that group with you. So during the meeting itself, you're going to want to do a few things. You can take notes here. Any notes that you have during the meeting, any important insights that you have or questions that you have, make sure you click save or you'll lose your work. So it will not automatically save. Make sure you click save. You're going to want to note whether the member attended or a staff attended. You can click one of those buttons here. And then after your meeting, you're going to want to do a meeting report form. This gives us information that we need to follow up with that member. Tell us how it did, who you met with, how you felt about it, all that kind of information. Make sure you fill that out. It really will help us a lot when it comes to follow up. And make sure you click submit answers. It won't save automatically. Then also you're going to want to send a thank you note. The thank you notes are so important to make sure that that meeting really solidifies in the member or the staff's mind. So clicking this button will take you to an email to send them a thank you. You can either copy it into your email or you can click this and it'll automatically do it. And then you can also use these buttons right here to tweet a thank you, use Facebook or LinkedIn to share your experience with this member. So we definitely encourage you to do that as well. So yeah, that's basically everything you need for that meeting. You can also get these documents right here in this folder, the documents folder. So you can look at that anytime to familiarize yourself with that information. And if you need any help at any time, you obviously can always email us, or you can click the support button here and that'll take you to something if you're having issue with the portal itself. So looks like right here, I just got a message. So this is my notification. So if you get a message from another advocate in this message category. So I'm going to look at my notifications here. And Emily messaged me. So if Emily was in my meeting, I could just message her like, thanks, will you mention this bill or this talking point? So you can talk back and forth from that. So that is a great tool to use during the meeting itself. And then again, if you need assistance immediately, you can call this number and someone will be there to help you. So great. Emily, did I miss anything in terms of the portal? I want to make sure I got all the buttons done.
I think you got all of the big elements. Of course, there's always the office hours for folks. If they need additional support, we can one-on-one with Zoom help you navigate. But we're really excited about our online platform this year. Again, if one thing that would also be helpful is if you know you're going to make your meeting and the time and date is good for you, you can hit that check-in before your 5-minute call.
Mm-hmm.
That just helps us measure who's going to be in so we can fill in gaps. If one meeting is not having enough people, we can get extra advocates to come and help out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And make sure, I would, after this meeting today, I would encourage you to check your email to make sure you got that portal link. If you didn't get that link, you can go to this website, and we'll send this out to everybody afterwards and prompt it to send you another link to make sure you get that. No password is needed. You just need to click that send me a sign in link button. And if you need any help navigating that or finding that document, we are here to help you. This is your support team. Emily and I both here can help you with that. And then also we're having office hours this year, of course, virtually on Zoom as everything else is. So these are the hours for our office hours. So if you want one-on-one help navigating that platform, or if you want to maybe role play your story, we can pretend to be a member of Congress, and you can tell your story to us, or you can meet with other advocates, meet with your teams. We really encourage you to stop by at one of these office hours. We have for Spoonies, Families and Friends at 11 a.m. Pacific on Wednesday, for team leads at 4 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday. On Thursday, for long COVID individuals, we have it at 11 a.m. and then team leads again at 4 p.m. And then we have a social hour happy hour at 4 p.m. on Friday. Now those are suggested, so because we want to make sure that people are able to meet with people who have similar experiences, but you feel free to join whichever time works for your schedule. Either Emily or I will be there, and other experienced advocates will be there. And any question you have, any one-on-one chat you want to do, please feel free to join those. Whatever works for your schedule. They'll usually be about an hour long. So join whenever you're free, and we can connect with you that way. Great. Thank you so much.